thank you. Being that it's 7:02, I'm going to call the meeting to order. So can you please read the sunshine law?
This is a regular meeting of the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Keyport, Tuesday, April 20, 2021. Let the minutes show that adequate notice of this meeting as required by Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, has been provided by the annual notice, which has been posted on the bulletin boards, filed with the Borough Clerk, and has been sent to the Asbury Park Press, the Independent, the Star Ledger, and the Two River Times.
Great, thank you. Can we please have a roll call?
Mayor Kennedy,
Here.
Council President Good,
Here.
Councilmember Pacheco,
Here.
Councilmember Katopoulos,
Here.
Councilmember McDermott. Here. Councilmember Davidson. Councilmember Davidson.
Here.
Thank you. Councilmember McNamara.
Yeah.
Thank you.
If everyone can join me in saluting the flag, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Everyone can please remain standing for a moment of silence. Tonight's moment of silence will be dedicated to Annette Kovacs, who is a longtime employee of the Borough of Keyport, who has unfortunately passed away recently. It's also a moment of silence for peace for our country. Thank you. Before we open up to the public, I just want to know if any council members have any items on the agenda that they need to address or pull or request to be pulled. Okay. Also, I just want to, for the record, we left off at the last meeting regarding resolution 8921. Jay, they were going to circle back possible resolutions to you or alternate locations. Did the Kiwanis submit any changes or updates to you?
I've received nothing there.
Okay. So maybe they'll, in a public session, have an update about that they found a new location or not. Okay. Can I have a motion to open to the public, please?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, just a reminder that this public portion is only for items listed on the agenda only. This is a public comment. And we will do show of hands first. Gwen Ellithorpe.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Ms. Ellithorpe is going.
Good evening. It's my turn to speak.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you allowing me to speak tonight. I am here as one of two folks representing the Kiwanis Club of Keyport.
Can you
And
just
one
state
of
your name and address?
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
My name is Gwen Ellithorpe. I'm the incoming president of the Keyport Kiwanis. And I'm sorry, what was the last thing you asked me for?
Your address.
My address is 63 Hillside Street in Red Bank / Middletown, New Jersey. I've been a member of Keyport Kiwanis for close to 10 years at this point. So
Thank you.
thank you so much. I appreciate this opportunity. Our current president was having problems getting on, so I will start off, if that's okay with you guys, speaking to you. Tina Wright is our current president, and she will speak after I get through my little part that I would want to pass on to you. Okay, Kiwanis Club of Keyport supports students with scholarships And during the pandemic, we worked with Keyport School District to purchase and help distribute 1,100 organizer boxes and get a grant for headphones that were sent home with all Keyport students. We have and will continue to support Keyport Ministerium Food Pantry, Keyport Snapper Contest, Keyport First Aid, and many others. We have partners with various organizations such as Bayshore Family Success Center, the Blessing Bag Brigade, Keyport Center School District, Central School District, and support the community in general in many ways. We would like to work together with the Keyport Borough Council to better serve the community. That is our goal, to serve the community and especially the children. The Keyport Kiwanis Club has been serving the children in the community for 98 years, and we would like to continue. We're all volunteers. We'd like to continue the good work we do, which is partially allowed by holding the fundraiser, the flea market. It is a great source of income to us. We know there have been issues, and we would like to resolve them and move on. Members of the club have preliminarily already cleaned half the numbers, and we would like to continue to work on that parking lot to get it in the shape that it should be, and you guys would like it to be in, so would we. We also spoke with owners of 2 of the businesses that are closest to that location, 2 owners of Keyport businesses directly in that area. Both Paul from Mike's Sub Shop and Kevin from the Keyport Fishery. They told us both verbally and in writing that they feel the flea market brings business to them and they have no problems with the flea market. They would like to see it continue so that they can have people come into town and support their businesses. Vendors are also reaching out to us to see when the flea market will start, as it is a great source of income to them. We've been responding to them. I've asked them always to contact us via email account, and we've been addressing that with them. So if there's ever an issue that is brought to any employee or whatever the contact, whoever's contacted with the town, they should certainly send them to our email address so that we can address it and take that off anyone else's plate. Some possibilities, just as a thought, for improving communication. That maybe a member of the Keyport Borough Council could liaison with us, or join Kiwanis for better communication, or join a meeting virtually, which we're holding every other week like you guys do, for sharing of concerns or areas where you feel or are aware of folks needing help within the town or the area. We'd like to continue to improve our relationship, continue serving and improving in any way that we can, serving the community. And it's possible that this governing board would know ways that we might not know or be aware of that we could better serve the community. So we would definitely like to build this relationship better and get us all in a better place. And as I said, please feel free to come to the club in any time that the town needs a hand with something or has a concern, and we would certainly like to address it. As I said, we hold meetings every other week. If anyone wants to come to a meeting virtually, or email us or email me, I can give whoever an email after the meeting is over, if that is helpful. I know Tina was having trouble getting on the meeting. I'm not sure if she got on. And regarding the notes from the 2 businesses, I have those. I did not send them to the town council. Certainly that's something, borough council, if that's something you would like, I can certainly do that. We are continuing to speak to other folks in the area to make sure that we are doing the best that we can to bring people to their businesses. We do not serve any food at the flea market. And that's the reason we never have, is so that those folks can, benefit from general public that comes in to Keyport for the flea market. If Tina has signed on, I am done, but I can't tell if Tina is on, so she'll tell me what I should do.
Okay, that concludes your part. Thank you for your commentary.
Thank
We
you.
will move on to anyone else by show of hands. Mr. Graham? Please unmute yourself, Mr. Graham.
Elmer J. Graham Jr., 22 St. Peter's Place. I have a question on resolution 11421. Can you explain that?
Yes, Mr. Delaney, do you want to give the background on that one?
Yes.
How about now?
This grant is an annual grant that the borough receives for our municipal alliance. These funds are a combination of state funds administered by Monmouth County, and it funds the municipal alliance. These funds are generated at the state level from drug enhancement and demand reduction. These are drug and alcohol fines that are assessed as part of municipal court violations throughout the state.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Graham. By video, by show of hands. Mickey Sakura? I don't know if I said that right. Black hat, hand is raised. Is it not Mickey?
Trying to unmute. Am I at permanent unmute? Can you hear?
Is that, she's talking? I'm not sure. I think she might have froze.
I think she's frozen.
What did you? Let's give her a second to reconnect.
Okay, I'm here.
I think she's. Wait. Where'd she go?
I'm right here.
Wait, I hear you, but your video's off. So maybe if you leave the video off, maybe that works.
Now you can.
Nope, there you go. Can you try again?
Speaker. Try to log in another way.
Okay. Let's see, we heard that.
Connection.
Okay. If you want to, there's on the link, there, below the link on the website, there's also a phone number if you want to try calling in.
I'm going to do that right now with my phone.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Anyone else by show of hands have anything on the agenda? I'm sorry. Did you say something, Michelle?
4, 6, 5, 5, 8.
Anyone by the telephone?
8, 6, 5, 6. Okay.
If you're on telephone, please hit *6 to unmute yourself.
John Merla, 34 Broad Street.
Hi, Mr. Merla.
Hello, Mayor, Council. A couple of questions regarding a couple resolutions. 11021, that the council is going to approve the safety netting for Main Street Ball Field. Is that for the what was discussed in previous meetings, the height and width of the netting?
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. It's the 60 feet.
Okay. And how high?
Jay, do you know off the top of your head?
"20 feet high."
20, John.
Thank you so
All
much.
right, Mr. Merla.
Also, the resolution 11321. What kind of improvements?
That is to replace the door. Well, technically two, because it was going to be something else and now it's two doors.
I didn't hear you that well. I'm sorry.
It is two different doors on the library building.
Okay. And under communications, number 4, was that an emergency?
It was when it happened.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. And the last question was a follow-up on 11421, the Municipal Alliance funds, Mr. Delaney. What are those funds actually used for? I can't hear you, Mr. Delaney.
Those funds are used to support the Municipal Alliance Program, which includes both the salary for the Municipal Alliance Coordinator, as well as program costs for drug and alcohol reduction education programs, primarily at the school.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Any other members of the public on the phone line?
Michael
Hello.
Lane.
Hi, Mr. Lane.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. I want to first mention that the additional data behind the agenda was posted on Monday by noon, and I appreciate that very much. Gave me the opportunity to study the material.
She's off today.
Pardon?
We did that because it
Resolution
would have been posted a
109.
lot later today because the clerk was off today.
No, it was posted yesterday.
Right, because she had a scheduled day off today.
All right. Well, I recommend we do that every day. Have it posted by Monday noon. Resolution 109-21, the regulation of the cannabis business. That resolution identifies 6 business issues for the committee to consider, but I'm concerned that there's no mention.
Mr. Lane, hold on 1 second. Which one are you referring to?
R109-21.
That is only to appoint, hold on, let me just pull it. That is to appoint the 3 council committee members to a council committee.
That's correct. But it says a whole set of things for them to deal with. And it documents 6 business issues that they are to deal with. But it does not identify their need to consider the usage criteria, such as smoking in public, smoking in your car, and outdoor smoking. And I'm just surprised that those issues are not also listed with the business issues.
Mr. Lane, actually.
I don't want to speak on behalf of the committee, but I'm pretty sure they're going to be talking about everything universally, and it's an advisory committee to come back to the full council with facts that they find out.
Mayor, if I may, also,
Sure.
Mr. Lane, state law does not permit any smoking in public unless we set up the consumption rooms, which again are not in public. So you're concerned about walking down the street, somebody smoking marijuana is unfounded.
That's great. Does it also apply to me having a deck party in my backyard with 7 people smoking marijuana?
Mr.
That's a
Lane,
private residence.
the purpose of that resolution is appointing a committee. Do you have any other further commentary on agenda items?
I do.
Great.
Under committee reports, Councilman Good, who's the redevelopment liaison, can you report on any initiative to contact the owners of the Aero Marine regarding the mitigation of this extensive erosion at this property and the need to stabilize the landfill site? Councilman Pacheco and Dennis Vatopoulos, Councilman. Timeline for posting the complete streets design guide. And the issue with the consultant recommending that we abandon the residential site improvement parking standards requirements has there been any discussion with the consultant regarding the extensive residential parking overflow at Veterans Park, at the 2nd Street parking lot, at the Atlantic Street parking lot behind the cornucopia, and also the past history of the residential homes around the apartment buildings wanting to have parking permits. Councilwoman McNamara, next steps to reconstitute the Brownsfield Development Area Committee, especially in light of the contamination or the remediation work that's going to be done at 78 Broad Street, at 176 2nd Street, and the Mariner Village remediation work in the area of our wellheads. Mayor Kennedy, if you could report on the timeline for the missing construction at First and Waverly, the lack of underground utilities, and the failure to pave the road. And if the borough administrator could report on the timeline for the county's installation of the 25-mile-per-hour parking, speed limit signs, and the timeline for the reconstruction of the First Street Bridge over Chingaroor. That's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lane. Just a couple quick points before we move on. In regards to Aero Marine property that you mentioned, there was actually an article on Asbury Park Press today regarding the civil lawsuit that the borough has filed with Monmouth County Superior Court. And additionally, in regards to the construction on Waverly and First, it is on my list of questions as well. We have a planning board this Thursday, and I hope to have an answer by then.
Thank you for the feedback.
Okay. Nikki, am I saying it right? No.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, great. I switched my network over to my hotspot on my phone, so now I think it should be good. Hi, my name is I'm sorry.
That's okay. Just state your name and address for the record, please.
Yeah, my name is Michelle Sarqua, and I live at 207 Arlington Avenue in Union Beach. Okay. First, I'd like to say is I grew up in Keyport, so I'm not just I'm speaking on behalf of the vendors from the Keyport Flea Market, but I'm not just a vendor from out of town. I grew up here my whole life, and my mother graduated high school from Keyport High School. So I just want you to know I'm looking out for the benefit of the town, not just myself and the vendors. I wanted to add to what Kiwanis had said before. She had told you she had spoken to a couple of the local businesses. I took it upon myself to go out Sunday morning, and I walked around town, and I have a petition signed from every business owner or manager, whichever one would happen to be available at the time. Mostly the eateries I focused on, and they all signed the petition that they say they want the flea market to happen, and they think it brings business to the town and it's beneficial for everybody. And after speaking with all of them, I went over to the parking lot, and I noticed that the parking lot was completely empty. I went in the morning, and I went again in the afternoon, and I took pictures. If anybody would like to see, they're all time stamped, and the parking lot was empty. So I don't feel that we're taking up parking that other people would be using for other businesses. And I just wanted to add that in, that, along with what Kiwanis had said before.
Thank you. Any other members of the public?
Hi, my name is Mary Beth Hughes, 207 Check Avenue, Parlin, New Jersey.
Hello.
Good evening to all of you. I'm also speaking on behalf of the flea market. I'm hoping that this flea market can open soon. I'm just going to say that we all need to get out of our homes and be outside around people, which we're doing and interacting safely and socializing safely. We had a successful season last year. We followed all the guidelines. I believe if we all work together, that we can make this season a very good success as well. The Kiwanis Club, the vendors, the customers, the residents, all the surrounding businesses really want this market to open. I'm also proud to be backing a nonprofit organization that does so much productive work in helping with the children. And this flea market will give them more to do more than what they already do. I mean, this is a small flea market. The crowds are small, which makes it more personable. And I've met so many Keyport residents, so many new friends. It's just a good thing all around. And like I said, if we can all work together, we can really make this a successful flea market to benefit all of us. And I just hope that you open it. That's all I got to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any other members of the public on the phone line? Push *6 if you'd like to speak.
Jack Straub.
Yes,
Hi,
hi.
Mr. Straub.
Yeah, just a quick question on R11021. Was the cost for that confirmed?
I'm pulling it up now. Jay, do you have that? Jay has it quicker than I do.
You know, the original estimate was at $12,000. We have updated that quote and it's $12,300 for the lowest cost.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else on the phone lines? Please push *6 to unmute
Yes,
yourself.
hi. This is Tina Wright.
Hi, Ms. Wright.
74 Broad Street, Keyport.
Hi, Ms. Wright.
Yes, I'm sorry I couldn't get in earlier. I apologize for that. Okay, I'm just again speaking on behalf of the Kiwanis Club of Keyport. I'm just want to follow up with Gwen Ellithorpe. She's the electing incoming president. That we also to the solution with the garbage. We're going to put in 3 garbage cans in that area where the flea market is, man the garbage and take it out ourselves. Also, we are still working on removing the numbered spaces there. We will continue to be working on that. In fact, we're going to be working again tomorrow evening on that. In addition to that, in regards to the application fee, we just wanted to know what the borough and council would like us to do, what would they deem necessary for us to pay. Just let us know. And that anything we can do in addition to this, just let us know. Again, with the spaces, cones will be the markers or the laminate that numbers that we'll put down each day and take up. And if there's any additional thing we need to do, just let us know. Thank you for your time. As always, appreciate it.
Thank you, Ms. Wright.
Welcome.
Any other members of the public? Mr. Straub, your hand is raised. Was that earlier, or do you have another question? Oh, it's down. Never mind. Okay,
I'm sorry, I forgot to take it down.
No problem. Going once, going twice. Have a motion to close to the public, please.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Next, we'll go on to committee reports. Council President Good.
Mayor, I have no report for tonight other than to just ask everybody to keep supporting our volunteer first aid and fire. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Pacheco.
Yes, so hold on, I just want to pull up the report. The police report, just to go, we have 49 detective files. I unfortunately don't have the number for calls for service, so I will certainly update everybody on that next time. Currently, there is 1 officer that's out on light duty due to injury and another one that's quarantined. The dive members have been employed twice, 2 times for search and rescue in Monmouth County. I think we've seen some of that, reported already. We have 2 new officers that are on the Rapid Deployment Force for Monmouth County Rapid Deployment Force. They are highly trained officers that respond to most certain applications, natural and man-made disasters, school and workplace violence, crowd control, demonstrations, incidents of civil disobedience, missing person searches, and open area suspect searches. They receive training in mobile field operations, special needs search, active shooter response, and advanced incident command. So this is really good. Our officers are getting some very specialized training. We also have an officer that was accepted and is training on the ICAC task force. That's the International Crimes Against Children Task Force. This task force is called to investigate all electronically facilitated child exploitation, especially internet child predation and possession and distribution of child pornography and all the illegal activity that has a substantial and detrimental effect on the general welfare of people in Monmouth County and Keyport. So again, that's some great news that we're getting more officers with this specialized training to make our police force, a highly functioning machine. Municipal Alliance actually meets next month. We're going to be discussing the recent grant funding. This year's funding is actually 1/4 of the funding we usually get, so we will be reviewing all the programs. And then just a quick update for Complete Streets, Mr. Lane, we are actually meeting on the 26th. Sorry about that, everybody. We are meeting on the 26th, and we should have an answer about the posting of the Complete Streets Complete Streets guideline. Sorry. Got a lot going on this house. That's all I've got for right now. Sorry about that, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, Carmen, too.
Everybody says thank you.
Councilman Fotopoulos.
Thank you, Mayor. Health and Registrar. The report is included in the packet, and we've begun to utilize the services of the SPCA, and so far, so good. Finance. There have been a number of grants submitted by and to Millennium, our grants contractor, by members of council, the mayor, borough staff, and also some members of the public. Grants will always be a solid source of revenue for the borough, and the work our grants contractor is important, and I expect it will continue to pay for itself based on the grants and the results from their efforts. The Finance Committee had quite a few productive budget sessions. The most impactful part of the budget was a large increase in the statutory pension costs, but we were still able to manage the amount raised by taxation to minimize the impact of local municipal taxes. This year, the amount to be raised by taxation on a municipal level, not taking into account the school, county, and the county amounts, will be $70,000. With annual expenses increasing and the Balancing Act providing the services to our community that we expect and deserve without significantly increasing the tax burden on ourselves is a challenge that we welcomed. This year, the committee invited members of council and the mayor to provide their input on the budget process. Council President Good, CFO Fallon, and Administrator Delaney and I engaged the council liaisons and had fruitful discussions that have resulted in a collaborative effort not only to meet many of the immediate needs of the DPW, buildings and grounds, recreation, police, and infrastructure, but also, and I'm excited about this, to establish long-term plans by way of department planning documents, and at the behest of Administrator Delaney and the work of CFO Fallon, a 6-year capital plan that details the capital policy and the goals for the borough moving forward. From a municipal perspective, we worked very hard to balance the budget and minimize the tax impact this year. We minimally increased the amount of that we need to raise by taxation and decreased the tax rate to 3.4%. Administrator Delaney mentioned last meeting that the assessed value of the town is up about 4%, which is higher than the tax rate decrease. Assessed value is something that neither the municipality, the school, nor the county has control over. The annual valuation of the borough is based on calculations made with the ADP, or the Assessment Demonstration Program, which Monmouth County employs, and is based on market value of properties. My hope is that as we see more smart development in Keyport, the council's budgeting goal will be to work to ensure the decrease in our tax rate be equal to or greater than the increase in our borough's assessed value. That sounds weird, but this will help to stabilize the tax burden on all of us. We need to achieve this while maintaining and improving services and the quality of life within the borough. I welcome and look forward to any public inquiries in the lead up to and during next meeting's budget hearing. The Environmental Commission met. We discussed the presentation from the Mariners Village crew, in particular, the mound of dirt that will be used to fill at the construction site. We need clarification on how that dirt will be treated, and KEC Chair Ken DeGroat will ask for the contamination report for the dirt. Mr. DeGroat also holds a master's in environmental science, I believe, as well. So he's a well-versed professional when it comes to that. We also discussed the success of the discarded Christmas tree deployment in the dunes. There's a large mound of sand that is covering the accessibility ramp and the steps at Veterans Park Beach. The plan is to remove and remediate that sand And the KEC is discussing placing a dune building structure of organic material like trees, snow fence, and beach grass to prevent this phenomenon from happening and recurring each year. More to come on that. We're meeting on Monday night. Debris from the air and marine, as brought up, continues to be of concern. And the outfall pipe at Cedar Street Beach was also discussed, and we look to have that trench mitigated soon as well. Recycling was scheduled to meet, but due to the surge in COVID cases at that time, we postponed that meeting. I have nothing else, as Councilwoman Pacheco reported on complete streets. Thanks as always for allowing me to serve our borough. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilwoman Davidson.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yep.
Okay. Hi, everybody. So for building and constructions, our UCC inspections for all subcodes, we had 98. Code enforcement inspections, 42. Rentals were 32. House sales, 9. Property maintenance inspection, 35. Landlord registrations, 1. Vacant property registration, 0. And zoning applications were 20. As far as DPW side, we are going to be starting hydrant flushing as of Monday, April 26th. It's going to continue for 3 weeks, ending on Friday, May 14th. The flushing will primarily be during the day from the hours of 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And on some parts of Keyport, primarily maybe the business district, will be in the evening from 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. During this time, you can expect or maybe anticipate having some discolored water. We recommend boiling and flushing out the faucets. Please check on the website for updates often. There's going to be posts going out on social media as well as posting on our webpage. There will also be a reverse 911 call sent out to all the residents so everybody is aware of what's happening. If you have any complaints or questions, we recommend that you contact the Borough Hall, and in the next few days, there will be contact information for that to happen instead of posting complaints and questions on social media, so we can be sure to address all of them in a timely manner. I think that is all that I have for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman McNamara.
You skipped me just like.
Oh my goodness, where? Councilwoman McNamara, I'm so sorry.
That's why I was a little
sorry.
confused. I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry. I know there was a time thing that we were facing. I'm sorry. Councilwoman McDermott.
Do you want me to go? Okay.
Yes, please.
Okay, good. Good evening, everyone. I do want to extend and exactly what the mayor said. I do hope peace for our country during this very difficult time and challenging period, whether it's COVID-19 or social justice or just however you feel. You know, I hope we have peace and resolution for some individuals and continued action on behalf of those who need to be represented. So I'm going to report now, NPP, regarding the resolution of 11321. The intention is to have 2 doors actually replaced, not just one. And just to let everyone know, this is part of the $50,000 that had been committed through the MPP program that has to be completed by all work with year 1 has to be completed by June 30th of 2021. And year 2 will start July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022. So this is the continuation of the library commitment as part of the MPP area. And as everyone knows, we have a new roof and all those great things that we've done through that program. We expect to have everything done by June 30th. We are planning a ribbon cutting for the library in recognition of everything that we've done in that district area. Announcement of this will happen in June. So we'll work with the council and the MPP committee to coordinate this. So we don't have a date yet, and we will be practicing social distancing masking, but just an FYI, we want to recognize the library area since we've done so many improvements into that building for infrastructure, things like that. Also, one of the other things is that if there are additional programs that the state just released, that as we get new updates to small business programs that are going to be focused for the MPP program designated by the DCA program, we will share those with those respective stakeholders. And again, all this stuff, this is for year 2 information. All this stuff is for that planning, not for year 1. So we'll let everyone update everyone accordingly with that. But we want to make sure everyone knows that we are funding for year 2 through 5 is so far looking well in the budget, but it still hasn't officially been approved by the governor, and it's going to be $125,000 a year for the MPP program. So the other thing I have is KVBC, and we ask that residents, business owners, property owners complete the survey that we have on our visitkeyport.org website. It's on the homepage. We're really looking to gauge the community and what we want to, how do you want KVBC to support the community? Please fill that out. And we'll look at that on a monthly basis just to gauge where there's been improvements or changes, and also target our programs to that. We're also going to engage and consult with the borough on several programs and MPP. But one of the key things we also want to support is partner with the borough on related inclusion and diversity initiatives that the mayor mentioned maybe a few months within the last 2 meetings. So for example, if there's a Hispanic Heritage Month, KVBC can have a program that's around this as well to support that. Again, all these programs will be based on council governing body approval, and we will always practice social distancing and follow those protocols. But again, none of these programs will be put into play until after May 1st, when the moratorium will be released by the borough. So we expect to at least have something going for May and June, and we'll put the official announcement in. I do want to thank one of our board members for painting the Welcome to Keyport sign. And also the KVBC board for approving that. Black trims with Keyport and Go letters, and get a KVBC board is going to work on replacing that sign and with a new sign as well as any other signs that we have in the borough. So look for that new stuff to coming out. And okay, that's that one. Library construction, which is part of the resolution on the library. In addition to the library, outside of MPP, the Library Construction Committee is in progress of submitting the grant. I don't know if everyone recalls, we tried to go for a grant last year in 2020, but we were not approved. So the state reopened another version of the grant. So we are in process of working with Millennium to get that submitted. And we're working with the library board as well as the borough, as well as the committee members. And the scope of the project that was approved by council, I don't know if you guys remember, we approved $300,000 on construction. That we have asked that be changed since the MPP program has done some of those infrastructure changes like the roof and things like that. We've asked the library board with the director to adjust those along with the grant writer to reevaluate where we need to address things. And attention initially is to focus on ADA compliant repairs. But again, that's in progress, and that's going to be part of the grant proposal. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, and I apologize again. Okay, Councilwoman McNamara.
Thank you. I'll start with the senior center. Registered members of the center have been contacted in order to see if they needed any help with setting up vaccine appointments. And between those, ages went from 100 down to age 60. Between that group and other Keyport residents, 55 and older, the center has been keeping a running list, which continues to get shorter. The process has been going smoothly. Wellness calls continue. The Skipper bus was used for getting Oyster Bay residents to and from Bayshore for their 2 rounds of shots. While there were many people involved to make that seamless, extra appreciation from the senior center was given to Susan Mulligan, Ginny Mayo, and Jay Delaney. Anticipating the beginning of mold remediation work in the basement at the center, Madeline and Sophie, along with some DPW help, cleared the way, moving lots of items into another section of the basement. New tables have been received for the outside deck, and now they're waiting for some chairs and umbrellas. So hoping this provides a venue for some outdoor gathering once guidelines permit. The center is looking into advancing their technology use as they research acquiring a smart board to help with creating a mini computer lab at the center that would be facilitated through CARES Act grants. And on the technology front, the Keyport Senior Center monthly newsletter is now available on their Facebook page. They continue creative ways to reach out to their community. So Zoom exercise classes, promoting Poetry Month, getting membership submissions, journaling, and they're now working on a slideshow using member photographs for a combination Mother's Day and National Photography Month illustration. On the recreation side, the Easter bunnies on fire trucks, the drive-bys went very well. That was the day before Easter. Recreation Committee is curious to see where council stands, and I guess we'll go over this later with any change in guidelines, wondering if it's possible to give a go-ahead for permits that are being applied for at Cedar Street Ball Field, and what guidelines council would want to see communicated to the teams. Currently, there's interest for every night of the week as well as Sunday mornings, and Recreation Committee has supported all of these applications. I've been having some conversations with Mr. Delaney, Recreation and residents in order to assess the current needs of our parks. This includes evaluating equipment, seating, signage, lighting, and more. The committee is also waiting for council guidance on their ability to have 2 events for skate park and their 5K. Already discussed was the netting at Main Street Park. Conversation with Recreation touched on what facilities and/or program we can possibly offer our teens. So I'll put it out there if anybody has any input on that. We would love to hear. Awards for 8th grade and high school graduation. A flyer with details are posted on the borough website and the recreation page. There is a May 1st deadline for applying there. And also looking to see through recreation if council has any thoughts on the summer recreation program. In February, Recreation did put an application in for building and ground use at the school district, and it was a window of June 21st to August 6th. So I know last year, after various brainstorming, the summer recreation program was tabled. So just trying to find out where we stand with that. And the RFPs for various recreation activities will be posted tomorrow. In the past, we've had the Tai Chi and the yoga. Harbor Commission, boat ramp cleaning was anticipated to happen last week. There was an equipment problem. They are now expected to clean the boat ramp this Thursday. Annual pass sales have begun, and we talked about the ADA compliant mat that the mayor had mentioned as part of the original work over by the Veterans Park. And they're certainly in favor of putting that in. And I know we have to do a little homework as to the sand movement that goes there. There was a conversation about bikes on the promenade, and whether or not there should be signage about hours that it's okay to ride there, or to ask people to be considerate when there seems to be a lot of pedestrians. Should you ride your bike at that time? There was some quick mention of the volleyball area at the beach park, which included some hope for a good deep cleaning by the volleyball area, and then perhaps some consideration of leaving some cheap bamboo type breaks and signage encouraging folks to maintain when they come to use it. Also recommended by the Harbor Commission, sealed cans at the waterfront, fishing area, and boat ramp for fish disposal. The Keyport Yacht Club and the Harbor Commission are working together regarding the pump out boat, and we expect the concessions, the hot dog and canoe work, the canoe rental, those conversations to wrap up by the end of the month, and looking for those vendors and concessions to start approximately May 15th. Green Team, resolution was passed at the last council meeting, appointing me as the council liaison for the creative team for the balance of the year. And just a reminder to everyone that the conservation tips for each month that are done by the Green Team can be found on the borough website. And if you go there, there's actually a full year's worth of tips. And Mr. Lane, the BDA question you had, I am in receipt of the old list that you gave me in terms of the old membership. So that's a starting point, as well as all the other material that we got and reviewed from you. And I'm still actually diving into that. And I would anticipate reaching out to environmental and hopefully also yourself as well to kind of get that really up and running again. And then I do have a new one, and that is the creative team, as I just mentioned, and there'll be an initial meeting of myself and Michelle Knox later this week. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. In regards to mayor's updates, I attended a virtual New Jersey League of Municipalities mayor's meeting with NJDEP as a climate change work group. I forwarded materials that I received during that meeting on to council members, the chairs of Keyport Environmental Commission, Harbor Commission, Green Team, as well as borough professionals. There was pretty valuable information in those reports and documents. Attended the library board of trustees meeting. I performed 3 weddings. I have 2 more coming up this week. So far, we've received some donations for the Keyport Fire Department through those weddings, which is great. I attended a Saturday virtual planning board class, participated in collaboration meeting with the Board of Ed, attended the monthly KBBC meeting. Everyone probably has noticed that the holiday lights on the lampposts have been taken down, and the flags have been put back. Yesterday, the rope lights in the mini park railings were removed. I attended a ribbon cutting for Here We Grow daycare and preschool. It's great to have new businesses opening in the borough. And this Friday will be the return of the Veterans Committee. So we're excited to get those initiatives back on track after a 14-month hiatus. So next, technically, we go on to the consent agenda. I would just like to, before we go into the resolution discussions, just give a little bit of background. I do believe there's been some miscommunication throughout the borough. Social media serves as a great feature and sometimes not a great feature. It's kind of where a lot of rumors start. Mr. Delaney has been working on compiling a list of what are actual borough social media pages, as opposed to the countless ones that keep getting created and people think that's official information. So we'll be posting a post with the actual borough social media pages. So in regards to the conversation in public session earlier, I believe there was miscommunication put out there that we were looking to stop the flea market because of the pandemic. I know several business owners were contacted and many of them did not appreciate the dialogue. Because they were not given the accurate information, plus they were interrupted with customer sales when they were approached this past weekend. I would also just like to point out that while the month of April was part of a moratorium, the flea market discussion has been going on for 16 years that I can date back to. It probably goes on longer than that as far as challenges and unresolved issues. So I'm the 5th mayor to have to deal with these, and countless governing body members over that 16 years. Back July 19th, 2004, there was a citizens committee that was comprised of a Keyport Downtown and Waterfront Revitalization Study Steering Committee. Commentary in that report included the Sunday flea market in the parking lot on West Front Street is an eyesore, nowhere to park. Most of the options are garbage and not worth it. Again, I'm talking past notes. These are not my commentary. March 3rd, 2009, there's a set of minutes on the borough website where Ms. Pulte expressed concerns about the garbage and the squatters. Mayor Bergen had to request a meeting with their Kiwanis. March 1st, 2011, Mr. Stryker was looking for guidance to try and make the flea market a success. The administrator communicated with Mr. Cattle, and Mr. Stryker was asked if they could possibly shorten their hours, and their reply was absolute not. 2016 through 2021, I personally can vouch for countless and endless meetings, discussions, solutions offered to get things rectified. Unfortunately, none of those actually came to fruition. So we're still at the same conversation place we were that for the time that I can vouch for, which dates back to 2016. Unfortunately, last year when we did go ahead and grant permission during the pandemic, our property was defaced with no regard or care. This past Sunday, I spent countless hours down at the waterfront. It's the first sunny Sunday in decades that there was not a flea market happening. I have documented in photos as well. And any hour that I was down there after 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., there was a minimum of 30 vehicles parked where the flea market normally would be. 90% of them were all consuming food from nearby restaurants. The waterfront parking along the edging was full beginning at 10 a.m. through 4 p.m. Additionally, past history also includes that some stores that opened in our downtown area had wished they had been told about the flea market because they weren't able to open their stores on Sundays because their customers don't have any parking in the summer. Those stores actually didn't end up making it. We owe our due diligence to the taxpayers of the borough of Keyport. The 4 properties that border the flea market area pay annually combined $47,874 in taxes. So our due diligence, especially in the middle of a pandemic, is clearly to the taxpayers and the visitors that we need to come into Keyport to frequent our businesses. Numerous solutions have been offered over the last 4 years of alternate locations, including suggestions for conversations with school property, Union Beach waterfront, since they benefit from the Kiwanis, is also Town and Country Diner, the car dealerships out on the highway, and Stop and Shop. There has never once been some dialogue from the Kiwanis to any of those properties. It is just taken for granted that we're just supposed to give it. We spent millions of dollars redoing our waterfront to improve our waterfront area, recreational areas, open space, and part of that was also to include parking for our business district. I think all of that commentary is necessary so that people understand that this was not the borough not trying to work with the Kiwanis. There's not a member of this governing body that discredits the service that the Kiwanis does, or that Ms. Wright was put this on her shoulders. But it's numerous past presidents that have been spoken to, as I said, through Mayor Merla, Mayor Bergen, Mayor McLeod, Mayor Omak, and myself. So this is not a new issue. The parking lot conditions, we had asked what the resolutions would be, only to find out that they went down and started sanding with a hand sander. We don't even know if that broke the seal in our parking lot now in all those spaces. So I would have preferred, and I think the engineer and our borough administrator, if they were going to go try and rectify it, could have at least explained how they were going to rectify it. It's been that way since July of last year. So it's my commentary on that topic. Again, I am very well aware they provide great resources. And as far as the vendors, we are not anti-flea market at all, but we can't continue to allow our property to be disregarded. If that's that, does any council members have any commentary on the consent items? Councilmember McNamara?
Personally, I would like to see Resolution 8921 taken off the consent agenda for separate consideration.
Okay. Any other members have anything on the consent agenda? Can I have a motion for approval of R10721 through R11421?
Moved.
Second.
Can I please have a roll call, Michelle?
Councilmember Good,
Yes.
Councilmember Pacheco,
Yes.
Councilmember Fotopoulos,
Yes.
Councilmember McDermott,
Yes.
Councilmember Davidson,
Yes.
and Councilmember McNamara.
Yes.
If there is a willingness, is there a motion to approve R8921? Yeah, R8921, not 29.
Mayor, if I'll I guess comment on this if I may. Obviously, the documented history is not so good for the Kiwanis for a number of reasons, and it's very difficult to, I guess, cast aside something that's been going on for so long. We did hear some statements that the businesses were happy and everybody signed a petition. I guess Ms. Serqua had something. I'm curious to see what that is. I would think that maybe we just, again, and I hate to kick cans down the road, but maybe this isn't the right time now, but I'm willing to have a discussion with the incoming Kiwanis leadership to maybe we can figure out if either situation, if they move, or maybe some financial incentives or disincentives for them to actually clean up and deal with it. So at this time, I can't see moving forward with that, but I wouldn't foreclose considering it at either next meeting or sometime later.
Can I make a motion that we table until next meetings, and then if we need to, we can table. I'd love the opportunity to participate in those discussions just to see if there are alternatives outside of the meeting tonight. We can talk to the leadership, and if finding another place is the alternative, then that's a discussion we can have as well. I'd like to see us accommodate them in one way or another. But I am also curious to see the petition that was brought up tonight, because obviously that would speak a little bit more towards it as well. But I'll make a motion that we table until next meeting.
Since there's a motion, I can't speak, but I'll wait until the second.
Oh, second, but I guess I kind of wanted to comment, so I don't know if I should have seconded already. I also would like to find a way to make this work. So I would also like to be involved. I guess now we're hitting the limit as to how many people from the dais can be involved in those conversations, because I think that there's probably some sort of happy medium or consensus that can be reached if we can all sit down at a table and discuss this, completely.
Thank you. Since there's a second on the floor, I'll comment that just for the record, Mr. Delaney and myself and Dr. Savoya did meet with the president about 5 weeks ago virtually. Mr. Gallo and I met countless times with the former president with this ongoing issues also. And this is part of my concerns, is the ongoing drain that it takes from our council members and our borough staff. Never mind the continuous monitoring that took place on social media this weekend when protests in front of my house were starting to get planned. So I don't even think that some of the dialogue is even at a civil point at this point. Councilman Petropoulos, at the last meeting, you had asked for them to present a plan. They did not present anything until this evening. And again, making us wait, and then it's going to make it look like we're the bad guys. 16 years. This isn't 16 days. This isn't because of the pandemic. It's 16 years of hearing from every single president that this is going to get resolved.
Mayor,
I also have not heard anything about how they're going to resolve our parking lot. And the fact that they think that that was okay to do and then just let it go until we started giving pushback is not okay either. In regards to the petition, why I didn't see it because it wasn't given to us. I can tell you the business owners I spoke to over the weekend that were contacted about this petition were only told that the flea market was shut down because of the pandemic. They were not given any other information.
Okay. I first off, there's no reason whatsoever for any discussion in public discourse to become uncivil. The dais, as the mayor has pointed out, has accommodated the Kiwanis year after year, even after you know, the slights, or not slights, that's a bad word, but even after the non-compliance of terms or the perceived or not or literal destruction of property and burden on the DPW, et cetera. But that you know, everybody on the dais knows how what my views are as far as the benefit of the community. And again, I agree, you know, it's not that I disagree with them not using the waterfront parking lot, but I think that the contributions that they have made to the community, I think I'd like to continue the effort that you started, Mayor, with trying to find different places, if that's the solution, or coming up with a consensus solution for the waterfront, whether that be financial or otherwise. So I'm glad that we're going to table it. I take into consideration. I'm glad that we might table it. But I at least want to see if we can have the discussion moving forward. And again, I want to offer, based on, you know, my knowledge of the organization and working with them in the past as well, I'd like to offer my assistance in any way. And that's it. Thanks, Mayor. Thank you. And
I just have one last, you know, maybe part of this is, you know, it's about building consensus and it's about figuring out a compromise and how to make it happen. And maybe part of this is what if we do have these conversations to reduce it to writing and some sort of memorandum of agreement. So those are all discussions that we can have together. So again, I second the motion.
I just want to point out here that I know personally, because I've heard this year after year, what the mayor has said about the promises that the Kiwanis has made every year that we've heard. And every year they do say that this one's going to change and this one's going to change. So the frustration I know that the mayor has, because she spent an extraordinary amount of time helping the Kiwanis to at least remain and try. So I think that the fact that she's kind of at the end of her rope says, you know, something in the effect of how long this has gone without any, I'll say either movement by the Kiwanis or anything like that. You know, I also have heard on this dais again and again and again. So I don't want to have the mayor, to have to waste any more time. So, you know, I'd be willing to meet with them, but along the same lines, I think that the borough has moved, or at least allowed, way more than what the Kiwanis has actually had to agree to, as well as done something to aid itself. And so the only usually incentives or disincentives could be something that is possibly draconian or something that hits everybody where it hurts. And maybe that's the only way that the Kiwanis believes that the borough is serious. But I think and I believe that Mayor Kennedy did go back to when Mayor Merla was there, and there still were complaints. So I don't even think that Mayor Merla would disagree with the fact that there have been complaints for close to 2 decades, and that there have been mayors and councils that have reached the end of the line. And I guess what I'm saying is, if we can't make it work now, and again, I don't want to waste Mayor Kennedy's time with this because she's given enough, then it's just not going to be. Maybe moving it to the school is a better option for everybody. But that's what I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you. I know you mentioned the monetary part. That's another point of all of this, is that, you know, people use the waterfront for the gazebo. It's $100 to get married in a 15-minute ceremony, but we waive the use of fee every year for them, which would accumulate to $4,200 that we do waive for them. So thank you for pointing that out as well. Okay, so I would need a roll call to motion to table.
Councilmember Good.
Yes.
Councilmember Pacheco.
Yes.
Councilmember Fotopoulos.
Yes.
Councilmember McDermott.
No.
Councilmember Davidson.
No.
Councilmember McNamara.
No.
A typo. For reasons I've already stated, then I will have to go on a record to break the tie with a no vote. However, it doesn't mean that conversations that you guys wish to have can't happen, and they can present something further. Next, we move on to the introduction of ordinances. Ordinance introduction, establishing a loading zone in front of 17-21 West Front Street. Can you please read the ordinance by title, Michelle?
This is an ordinance amending Chapter 7A of the Borough Code entitled Traffic Schedules at Schedule 13, Loading Zones, to establish a loading zone on West Front Street within the Borough of Keyport.
Thank you, Michelle. I have a motion to introduce.
Motion to introduce.
Did someone second?
Second.
I did.
Oh, you did? I thought that I couldn't pick it up quick enough. Sorry. Okay, so Kathleen motion, Delia seconded. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Good.
Yes.
Councilmember Pacheco.
Yes.
Councilmember Fotopoulos.
Yes.
Councilmember McDermott.
Yes.
Councilmember Davidson.
Yes.
Councilmember McNamara.
Yes.
I have a motion authorizing the clerk to publish the ordinance as introduced in the Asbury Park Press for a public hearing.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any noes or abstains? Next, we have communications by consent. We have 1 through 7 for approval, number 8 to receive and file. Does anybody have any questions or comments from the governing body? Councilman McNamara?
Just a quick question. I see one of the requests is for a 2-hour time block for a wedding on July 3rd, which is obviously holiday weekend. And I was just curious if it had been run by police, et cetera, with any concerns.
Mr. Delaney and Ms. Clark, I do believe you've spoken with the police department on this application. Is that correct, Mr. Delaney?
Yes.
Yes, I believe this, there had been a review by the police department, and there was a recommendation that, I'm just reading through it, that whatever approval is granted, that it be subject to coordination with the police department for any necessary traffic control or attending related to the size of that group.
Okay.
Okay.
Mayor, I have a quick comment about the wedding as well. The fees that were associated with it, I saw it was $100 for pictures. Is there supposed to be a fee associated with using the pavilion as well? So it would be a total of $200. It didn't look very clear to me on that one. And I also have a lot of concerns about that wedding on that weekend with that many people down at the waterfront taxing our police department on a holiday weekend. As much as I would love to see people getting married and celebrating down there, I also have a lot of concerns about that.
Give me 1 second. Just pulling the actual application. Michelle, the $100 was for the use of the gazebo, or is asterisk? I see where the council member Davidson saying now they put an asterisk for the pictures, but it's really the same, right?
The application is for both or just the pictures.
So she was asking, should they be paying a separate fee for the $100?
Generally, the pictures is really, they just going down for pictures.
Right, it's a separate event, right? Like prom or, right? Okay.
We don't break it, we usually $200.
Okay. So my understanding, Councilwoman Davidson, is that it's inclusive of both. They're listed separately on the application, which is another process we're in the middle of cleaning up, is this whole application process. If someone was going to use the waterfront just for pictures, but they're going to be doing both a wedding and but I can also, I believe Chief Torres had members of her department and she's on the call. Chief Torres, do you have any feedback on any of these on this item or any of the concerns?
Yes, I usually have Lieutenant Vettit or the captain. Their concerns on this was pedestrian safety because it's July 3rd. We have 100 people at the waterfront on July 3rd at the timing. 4 to 6 is dinner time, and it's also 4th of July weekend with the fireworks going on. I know several of the businesses have bands playing as well. So our concerns is number one for pedestrian safety. Are they asking to close the road? We have a lot of things that should go on this type of form. Are they closing the road? Is there going to be parking? We don't even anticipate there being any spots open down there for parking, let alone the bands. Because I'm going to have to put an officer for crossing, an officer for traffic. There's a lot of concerns for the July 3rd weekend. I feel myself in the future, that's probably a date that we should look at as a blackout date, because of all the events going on, even across the water. They do like 4th of July, the fireworks, so everybody gathers at the water. During this time, it's going to be jam-packed. I don't see how we're going to park and try to maintain an event of this size down there in the middle of July 3rd with this type of notice. But if you guys have an idea or you have something for me, we're more than willing.
And who would pay the additional police expense?
So the additional police would always come out of our budget as well. That's why we had spoke about, I know, trying to change the ordinance on this and trying to revamp this whole process because of these issues. We have a very short form, and oftentimes when a private citizen wants to hold a large event, it's very hard for us to, get DPW, get our officers out there, schedule it, just ensure their safety in general. Every event like that, we have an obligation to make sure that they're safe when they come to our borough and have an event. We don't have a time limit when they can apply. They can just, basically they put in for it at any time. We don't even have like a 60 or 90-day requirement. So these are all things that that we've spoke about, but July 3rd is definitely a big issue on so many levels. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd also like to point out the council members, item number 6 on communication. That has been worked. There's some more logistics to that coming in from actually the school district as opposed to from Ms. Graham, correct, Michelle? So Chief Torres, myself, and Mr. Delaney are going to be working on the details of that with the school district. And they'll present the certificate of insurance to the school.
So does that mean that we're not presenting the communication for approval, communication number 6? Is that what
so there's saying? Actually, they are looking to have the event on the same day and time, but we're going to do it through the avenue and auspices of the school district. So more paperwork will be coming on that, but they want to know if they can at least have that date and time. So in regards to number 2, which was the one we just discussed with the chief and Mr. Delaney, do the council member want that as a separate consideration?
I'd request that one be pulled, not for separate consideration, but obviously to meet with, you know, the police and narrow down obviously the questions that have arisen. So that one I'd move to just table and let the applicant meet with our police, meet with Mr. Delaney and anybody else who's involved to figure out exactly the logistics of it. And, you know, if the police say at the end of the day that it's going to be a mess, which we all know the July 3rd down at and July 4th down at the waterfront is a huge deal. Maybe that day just needs to be blacked out. So I'd have to
just so you know, I think Chief Torres expressed that they already did communicate with them, and those would be the different things that would be needed, would be the additional police manpower, and that their police department is expressing concerns. Am I correct, Chief Torres? I don't want to.
Yes, that's correct. I've already had I know Patty has contacted them back, and I know that the lieutenant and the captain, they vetted this event. That was their concerns. I read over them myself and have even additional concerns. So I'm not sure what absolutely can be done even with that date. If it was another date, I think, you know, it would be possible that we could try to make it happen and go back and forth what we could do. I don't see what we could do at that time during a large crowd at dinner time. I don't see what else could be possible. We always look to try to make anything happen. But at this point, I don't see what could be possible, let alone it is a stress on budget, because we do have to see if we can get people to work that event, as we consider 100 extra people down there, parking to be an event.
Then I apologize. I must have misunderstood what it was. But basically, Chief, you're saying that you would recommend against it due to the logistical nightmare that it's going to cause.
Yes, sir. I think that our recommendation is formally that date is not available. Thank you.
Mayor, let me revise. Can we pull that one for separate consideration?
Sure, that's a great idea. Okay, so then items, I need a motion for approval for items 1 through 7, with the exception of number 2, and to receive and file item number 8.
Motion.
Can I roll call, please, Michelle?
Councilmember Good,
Yes.
Councilmember Pacheco,
Yes.
Councilmember Fotopoulos,
Yes.
Councilmember McDermott, Councilmember Davidson,
Yes.
Councilmember McNamara.
Yes.
I would need a motion or not a motion for number 2. So if we're not approving it, what do we, I mean, usually you don't motion when you're not doing something. Ms. London, would we, if there's no motion, it just doesn't pass, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So I guess I'll call for, is there a motion to approve communication item number 2? Okay. That item is not approved.
Excuse me, Mayor Kennedy.
Yes.
Did we approve the consent agenda? Or I know my phone may have been cutting in and out. I'm not quite sure. I know we pulled one part. Did we go back and do the rest of the consent agenda?
We did the majority of it first and then went on to the second one.
Okay, thank you.
R89.
Okay, thanks.
I don't know where this falls, but I think this is something that we need to work with can we start blocking dates out for so that we don't have the situation happen again, whether it's July 4th, July 3rd. So I don't know what committee, is that police committee, or where would you recommend this falls on the mayor? So we don't have the situation happen again.
The entire process of the borough use of property is being revamped.
I vote for Jay taking that on all by himself.
I think Patty's helping him.
Okay. All right, I just want to make sure we have some sort of due process. Thank you.
Does that include going through charges for police, DPW, any of our resources that may be used and billing them back to the applicants as well?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, can I have a motion for minutes for approval, April 6, 2021 regular meeting?
Motion.
Second.
Can I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Good,
Yes.
Councilmember Pacheco,
Yes.
Councilmember Fotopoulos,
Yes.
Councilmember McDermott,
Yes.
Councilmember Davidson,
Yes.
Councilmember McNamara.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have reports of departments. Municipal clerk's report for March 2021. Tax collector sewer collectors report of March 2021. Board of Health Treasurers report for March 2021. Building Department monthly report for 2021. Municipal Court monthly report for March 2021. Keyport Parking Advisory Committee report for March 2021. Keyport Fire Department PIO PR report dated March 21st, 2021. Can I have a motion to accept?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any noes or abstain? Okay. Next, we have new business on the agenda. Last week, Chief Torres had spoken with Council Member Pacheco, Police Commissioner, and Council Member Nick Dermott, Mr. Delaney, and myself, explaining a program that they're doing over in Hazlet called Hazlet Assist. And it's in partnership with Hazlet Hope. And it would be a designated day and time that would be announced for anyone that's experiencing the need or desire to speak to somebody, whether it was an addiction topic or mental health situation. The reason I wanted to bring it to full council for discussion is because we would have them come into council chambers to meet with the counselor during that time. And we've already confirmed that the council chambers would then be sanitized with the fogging machine afterwards. But because the building is technically closed to the public, I wanted the full governing body to be aware of this. And I'd like to defer to Chief Torres in case she has any further commentary about the program.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council, for listening to this. Obviously, we all know that there's a need for some type of resource for addiction. Assist is our greatest resource. It comes through Hazlet Hope, and we would call it, obviously, Keyport's Assist program. It's just simply, it's nothing for any of us to do, which makes it even better. It's literally 2 recovery coaches, and they follow all the COVID guidelines and protocols, and we'll oversee that as well. But it's just 2 recovery coaches sitting every Wednesday for 2 hours in our building, waiting to see if anybody wants to come in and talk to them about an addiction issue. It doesn't necessarily have to be their issue. It could be the issue with a family member or close friend, but it gives a safe place to come and just to meet face to face with a recovery coach who has also been an addict and can understand what they're going through. We think that it's a great resource from our borough to provide this type of help. It's been working great I think Hazlet piloted the program, and they know already it's helped 5 people in their town. Not everybody has a car, not everybody has money, not everybody has the ability to afford counseling and such. I think providing something so, just so small that takes none of our effort would be a great way to help out our community. So thank you for taking the time to listen.
Thank you. Are any council members object to this?
No, I just have a question. Do we designate 2 hours already on Wednesdays? So I don't know if we said that.
I think the plan will be moving forward on Wednesdays, depending on when the recovering coaches will be available. But because we're bringing it for the full council discussion, we didn't confirm to start it this week. Obviously, that would be tomorrow. It would be too soon. And I think it's going to maybe move forward next Wednesday. Is that correct, Chief?
They said they were flexible, but what we did was we asked them like when they were in Hazlet. So if it's the same 2 recovery coaches, we could, because they are volunteers, we would try to coordinate like that. I think originally we talked about Wednesday 12 to 2, and that wouldn't interfere with anything that we had or court times, stuff like that. That was what the times were talked about.
And it would be during the day hours, so DPW can come in if there wasn't a member of the police department available to use the fogging machine that you guys have, correct?
Okay, absolutely.
I just have a couple of questions, if that's okay, Mayor.
Yeah.
The Chief Torres, the recovery coaches, under certain circumstances, somebody seeking help may want to be sent into a facility or a bed. There's going to be opportunity for those recovery coaches to be able to find beds or somebody to help find beds for folks that need them, correct? When I say beds in rehab.
Yes, sir. Thank you for bringing that up. Actually, that was something else that they offer. They have scholarship beds, so they have amazing resources, and they do have scholarship beds, and they will be readily available for people who want to go immediately.
Chief, how are we gonna make it known that this service exists to the community?
Depend on everyone to put this out there. We'll put it out on our social media. Hazlet's Hope will put it out on their social media as well, that we joined their program and we're on board. And then, hopefully we can show that the mayor and council support this program, and we'll have you guys put it out as well to show the community what we're doing.
Gladly. I'm sorry, Mayor. When we first started this program years ago, the outreach program, I'm in full support of anything we can do, as everybody knows. And I think that I've said it before, the importance of being there for an addict that is asking for help cannot be overstated, because that opportunity is often fleeting. Sometimes the mind changes very quickly, but if there's somebody or a resource that is available to be able to help, I'm all for it. And I'm really proud of the MAC and Chief and Hazlitt's Hope for that matter, and the mayor for even considering this. Thank you very much.
Also, Councilman Fatapas, I just want to piggyback off of the ways Chief Torres mentioned. The beginning of the year, I had put a leadership panel together, and our goals are to meet once a quarter. So we should probably in the next couple of weeks be having our next leadership panel meeting, and it can be reviewed there as well. And then that's members of the clergy, members, directors of the local food pantries, as well as many other different people that sit on that panel. So we'll make sure we bring it up on that as well. Okay, so I don't hear any opposition. So Chief Torres, I would say that's a green light to move forward, and thank you for coordinating that.
That's awesome. Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Thanks. Under unfinished business, there's one thing that's not listed on the agenda, but if I could just ask Jay and Ms. London if they could, for the next meeting, have some kind of dialogue or update on what we're going to do about the road opening on Main Street when New Jersey Natural Gas cut open the road, and how whether we have to file charges against them or what we're doing about that to have them come rectify that situation. Thank you. Next, we have the use of borough property guidelines during the public health emergency. As we all know, back in January, we had a moratorium voted on by council members to put a hold on any events taking place on borough property throughout the municipality. For the most part, organizations and residents obliged by the moratorium. Not everyone, but now we are almost at the end of that, which was through the end of April. We won't have another council meeting. So I just need to know what the pleasure of the council is. Are we extending the moratorium, or are we doing it case by case? Some of the things that we are getting a lot of questions about. KBBC has a request pending for the next meeting for the townwide yard sale and the farmer's market. And then there's additional things that are, on table right now. Summer camp, and I'm not even sure if we have time to hire personnel for that at that point right now. But if we could all, I guess, if you guys want to know the caseloads, in the last 30 days, the Borough of Keyport has had 92 cases. So it's about 3 per day.
Mayor.
I'll start with you, Councilman President. Sorry. I'll go around like we did last time, if that's okay. Okay.
I'm of the opinion that we should do it on a case-by-case basis. I think that I know that the numbers are going up along the same lines. The number of people who have gotten some vaccines shots have also increased. The state did open it up now to everybody over, I think, the age of 18 or 16, I guess, for one of, I think it's the Pfizer shot. So I think certain things that we should do it on a case by case. The townwide yard sale, I would be for that. I think Hazlitt just had theirs last weekend, and I drove around. Everybody was wearing masks for the most part. There were a lot of houses, so there weren't that many people, and it wasn't that crowded. But I think that that's something that we should allow as well as consider on a case-by-case basis. Thank you.
Hey, Michelle, for the next meeting, we have that on from KBBC for the townwide and the farmers market. Yes. Yes. Okay. So we'll officially vote on that next meeting. The request didn't come in before the agenda closed this first one.
Oh no, I
Right.
wasn't. I knew you did. You
No, I
weren't
know.
proposing that. I was just using it as an example.
Right. Okay. Councilwoman Pacheco.
Yeah, I think we should do it on a case by case basis. I think that there's obviously certain things that shouldn't happen, but I think that there are some events and some things like perhaps town yard sale that can be done safely, and we should just take them as they come. That's all.
Thank you, Mayor. You're right on as health liaison, I've been not obsessively, but I've been looking at these numbers frequently every day and keeping track of increase and decrease. And you're right on the money, of course, with the 92 in the last 30 days. During the height of the surge in Keyport, we were at 116. Just to put it into perspective, and I agree with the previous council member's assessment, but the last week we've seen a daily increase in the amount, decrease to under 2 per day, when in fact, during the largest surge, we were up to 6 at one point. So not only would I agree that we do it on a case-by-case basis, and not to preempt Councilwoman McNamara, but I would ask that we also consider opening up the fields as soon as possible under the CDC and the state guidelines as to how they're supposed to be used. And I think that given the scary surge that we had, we acted appropriately. But with the numbers going down and the vaccine, the daily numbers going down and the vaccines going up, it's appropriate for us, I think, to at least do it on a case-by-case basis, as was stated before. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilwoman McDermott.
Pretty much agree, evaluation on a case-by-case basis. There are the recreation summer events need to be looked at as soon as possible. Summer camp, the KBBC events that we potentially would like to forecast to bring to the governing body for vote could be in consideration. And also, anything else that comes our way, ad hoc. But the baseball fields for those regarding the recreation allowance of permits. So I do think we should be following the CDC guidelines by the state regarding those protocols. So that's it.
Thank you. Councilwoman Davidson.
I also agree with the other council members. Case by case basis at this time, I think would make sense. And again, of course, following all the guidelines and not doing some events, but I think like the townwide yard sale, I think that can be done hopefully in a safe way. And everybody who's having one at their home will make sure that it is being done safely. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilwoman McNamara.
As Councilman Fotopoulos brought up, I guess the one right now that would be certainly a case by case, because their season would have actually started, within the past couple of weeks, is the ball fields. And I don't know, what the best way to approach that is, but we do have, 3 different leagues with permit interest. And I'm just looking for guidance as to, do we feel comfortable, within them following established CDC guidelines? I don't think it's for us necessarily to have to police it to make sure that's happening. So just looking for guidance. Can we issue these permits with a start date in May, or I don't know?
Do they already have their applications filled out and completed with their certificate of insurance submitted?
2 of them do. The one that for the Sunday, I believe we had returned until there was also conversation, because we had never issued permits for the weekends. It had always been the week nights. Recreation, in a conversation there, did not have any concerns with a Sunday morning league. I don't know if council does, but that one we did return, just pending clarification from council. And we do have the other 2 still in hand.
So our next meeting is May 4th. So we could put them on for the May 4th approval. Would that give them enough time? It's only 3 days after the moratorium anyway.
Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, it's, I guess I think that their season goes through the end of August typically. I don't know, given that it's starting, at least a month late for some of them, whether or not they're looking to extend and what people feel about that. But I'd like to be able to tell them something. And if it's that we're going to wait till the next meeting, so be it.
Well, the two we have, we'll put on, right? And the one that we don't have an application for, they should get it in by next Tuesday, so we can have that on the agenda and the council will review it. And as they said, we'll do case by case.
Okay.
So we'll have them on the agenda for the next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
And then the other events, Skate Park had originally submitted for an event in May, which in conversation, we asked them to look for possibly a June date instead, because we would not be able to give them enough lead time to put such an event together. And I don't know if we should bring that up as a possibility as well for a possible June event. The September events, I don't think we have to address right now, which would be the other skate event and the 5K. Because I think we're probably still too far away from that, but.
Actually, I have a question. Do you have a potential date for the 5K?
Yes, September 25th.
That's what I thought. Okay. And in regards, when you say skate event, I thought that's why we built a skate park. So they have a skate event every day.
Well, again, this is another conversation for council, right? These are events that this council want to approve, and they're asking for 2.
Okay, so I guess we'll just need information on that and what budget and all that kind of stuff. And then are they asking for summer movies also or no?
I think the wait is, where we are in terms of.
Okay, so I know that's going to be tough for you because your next recreation meeting is the day before our next council meeting, so it won't be on the agenda. So can we just put recreation items? Because she's not going to have everything by the time the agenda closes, because she's meeting the night before our council meeting. New business recreation, if you don't mind. Is that fair, Councilman McNamara?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, any other council members have any commentary on that? Okay, I do see that Mr. Maroney is, oh, sorry, Councilman McDermott, were you talking?
I just had a question. What was the rec committee for the summer waterfront activity? Recreation, are they also working on submitting those as well?
You
mean like the yoga and stuff?
The yoga, the Tai Chi, are those programs also being considered by as well?
I believe the RFPs for those are being posted tomorrow.
Okay. Okay, so then it'll be in the agenda anyway. Okay, got it. Okay. Thank you. I just want to make sure we didn't miss that.
Mayor.
Question.
My neighbor works with the Bayshore Little League, and they were inquiring about the Main Street field for T-ball and coach pitch, which isn't in danger of hitting anything out of the park. Is that something that they can submit an application for?
I believe so.
Okay, good. All right, so I'll let them know to put in an application. I'll inform Councilwoman McNamara and let them know to put in an application before next Tuesday.
Great. Thank you. Also under unfinished, I see that Mr. Maroney is on the call this evening, and I know he sent an email. Unfortunately, it was to a quorum, so I couldn't reply. But Mr. Delaney, you're finishing up final details on that, right? Maybe for the next meeting for the 5G ordinance, do you think?
I expect it'll be ready for presentation to the council. The borough attorney prepared a draft resolution, and as I indicated, I guess this morning, the engineer has provided some commentary.
And that just came in last night, so it's definitely in process. So I just wanted to make a comment on that under unfinished business. Okay, next we have attorney's report.
No report, Mayor.
Thanks, Ms. London.
And Mayor, if I may, earlier in the meeting, Mr. Lane inquired on the status of the county installing speed limit signs on Atlantic Avenue, I'm sorry, First Avenue. We continue to make that request to the county and have followed up. Mr. Lane's second request had questioned the status of the bridge replacement also by Monmouth County connecting Keyport to Union Beach. There's a pre-construction meeting on that project scheduled for Thursday. We'll have a better sense of the status of that project from the county's perspective after that.
Great. Thank you. Can I have a motion to open to the public for 5 minutes per person?
Motion.
Max?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Kelsey? I don't know.
That information was not provided. The request was for Wednesday morning for that time period. I would only be guessing as to the actual unloading time, but it sounds like there was a margin of error on the arrival time to be sufficient. My guess is, an hour to 90 minutes. For the unloading.
Thank you. Anyone else by show of hands first? Mr. Graham? Can you unmute yourself, please, Mr. Graham?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Elmer J. Graham Jr., 22 St. Peter's Place. Few things. First of all, off subject slightly here, the Met game in Chicago there with the Cubs. It's 1-0 Cubs going to the bottom of the fourth inning at Wrigley Field. So that's the latest update. And second of all, I'm glad that our Veterans Committee meeting is going to be resuming on Friday. And I'll let you know, Mayor, I'd like to be on that again. And let's see. The third thing is, as far as hopefully the movies at the waterfront can resume this summer and stuff like that within the CDC guidelines. And that's it. Thank you.
Thanks for the Mets update. And yes, I look forward to you attending the meeting on Friday virtually. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else by show of hands? Next, we'll go to the phone lines. If anyone has any commentary on the phone lines, please hit *6 to unmute yourself.
Michael Lane.
Oops.
John Merle.
Square was green first.
I'm sorry, who's going first?
Mr. Lane's square was green. I feel like it's like a game show. Elmer, if you could mute your phone, please.
I want to compliment the council on moving forward on the Aero Marine with a lawsuit. It's been a long time coming, and that's great. Couple of signage issues. The state noticed that they were going to be doing measurements of the water quality in the harbor, and the signs would be posted. So the homework needs to be done as to where and when the signs will be posted. The second signage item is and Jay, I apologize, I didn't get your input on the 25-mile-an-hour signage.
Mr. Lane.
Pardon?
We continue to follow up with the county on that.
All right, we don't have a date yet. Okay. Third thing I want to share is it's on signage again. Next Tuesday, the 27th, we're going to have a 7-foot tide, one of the highest tides in the harbor. And if the wind is out of the east or northeast, we'll have a serious flooding problem. Right now, the prediction is for the wind to be out of the west. So keep your fingers crossed. But I sent a memo about signage, and I noticed that in the downtown there were some barriers placed to keep cars from parking by the yellow zones. Those would be perfect barriers for closing the street and putting a sign on of flooding. And so I ask you to think about that. Final thing, the contamination remediation at Mariners Village. Jay, I passed you the full document. I had the time to go through it, and at the very end, there's a summary. And the summary is that we have groundwater pollution. And the good news is that there's no wells in the area because you wouldn't be able to use the water. The bad news is this groundwater pollution is over our wellheads area. And if I read it correctly, they're going to ask for a pass on that. And so I will take the summary, which is a paragraph, and I'll forward it to all members of the council. I'm also forwarding it to the Environmental Commission. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lane. Mr. Merlo?
Yes, Mayor, a couple items. One, I do understand Council Member Davidson's concern about the hydrant flushing, and if there's complaints, rather than go to social media, come to the borough and ask your questions, and hopefully they'll be answered. However, my past, a lot of people are made aware, whether it be true or false, on social media of a lot of issues concerning the borough. And I think why a lot of people go to social media is because the borough neglects to follow through on policy that they set. And when I say policy, I filed a complaint on March 18th with the borough as per the borough 311 form. It's now 4/20, and that's 33 days later. I have not received an answer. On 4/9, I filed the same complaint twice. And I have no problem filing complaints if that's what the powers to be want to see is your name and your address. I have no problem with that. I've said it before at council meetings. However, I do have a problem with, if we're going to set policy, let's set guidelines. Let's set 14 days, 10 days, 15 days where the borough has to get back to the resident. I mean, 33 days. One of mine is a very serious complaint. A chimney is falling off of a house. And I think that's very, very serious. And if it falls on someone, that would make the borough more responsible for not returning a quick email on my complaint. You know, I can see following policy, but I think we need to tighten up a little bit the ship. We really do. On the other hand, I want to applaud our Keyport Police Department. As mayor and council members, I know you guys do your best in traveling around to make sure things are safe in our community. Well, I had an opportunity last week because there was an issue on social media about speeding in our town. But what I saw was something different. I saw our police department out enforcing and writing tickets and writing warnings, not as a revenue generation, but more as a safety factor. And I applaud their efforts for doing so. And I applaud the council and mayor supporting them to do that. I also think, Councilman Patopoulos, somewhere along the lines, we need a radar trailer for our police department to move on county and borough streets to just show awareness And I think it's very well needed, and it stores data. Police department needs it. And you know what? Our community needs it. So it's something to look at in the budget. The third thing, Mayor, is I want to applaud you because I know you worked hard on this, and I know you did a lot of lobbying to have Save on Drugs, a vaccine facility in our community. And they've been approved, and they've been doing very well. And I applaud all your efforts on that. And the last thing is on a personal note. Keyport Assist, I support 150%. As you all know, personally, I had addiction in my family, and Hazlitt Hope was there. And this is a very, very, very much needed program for a lot of people. And I do help behind the scenes with Hazlitt Hope. And I know you guys are very supportive of that program and the individuals in that organization. And I thank you for doing that. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Merlin. I agree on all your points, and thank you for your kind words.
Thank you.
Any other members of the public on the phone lines? Going once, going twice. Can we have a motion close to the public?
Motion.
Second.
Thank you. We do have a item to go into closed session for. We'll need a motion for that. Ms. London, do you need to read the resolution topic?
Again, I can do it generally. We have a motion to go into closed session, a meeting not open to the public in accordance with the provisions of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act. There is a need to go into closed session to discuss terms and conditions of potential employment. There'll be no action taken with respect to this matter.
Thank you, Ms. London. Can I please have a motion go into closed session?
Motion.
Can we just do all in favor? Or does that need a roll call? All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Is there a link? I didn't get it, if there is.
We're
No,
gonna
we
go
have
into
a
a breakout
fancy,
room.
we have a fancy
okay.
breakout room thing.
Got it. Thank you.
So members of the public that are still on the call will come back in to adjourn the meeting, but there'll be no expected action taken when we come out. So it's up to you if you'd like to wait for the adjournment of the meeting.